Whether we're speaking symbolically or literally, the concept of the sage has close links to the concept of the Overman. He or she is the one who sees, feels, and knows through direct experience that there's an infinity of universes we're all living in simultaneously. Whether it's the universe of each individual one of our minds, their belief systems, interpretations, perspectives, and languages, or the universe we experience when we leave our bodies in meditation or sleep. Because the number of universes is infinite, and the scale of each of them is infinite too, the sage realizes through direct contact that there's only one infinity containing all those infinities. Both the sage and the Overman know that the only game in town is the game of that infinity thing. That infinity thing can wake up to itself, and it's then the infinite observer, playing itself through this infinity of potentials, experiences, choices, and bodies, you and me. So the sage knows that you can only do good or harm to yourself and no one else, because there is nothing else other than the one infinity. So when you know that you can only ever hurt yourself, or cheat yourself, or lie to yourself, you know there's no choice other than to do the best for the greatest good of the self and the all, because they're linked. It stops being a moral choice and becomes the most rational and reasonable one. The challenge or game for the sage starts when he sees that the light of potential is so bright and beautiful, so pure and real that it becomes a heavy burden to carry because few others can see it so clearly. When that clear vision of what's possible gets compared to the reality of what's going on, then things can feel quite heavy. Heavy because the sage knows how much letting go and inner death is needed to see it clearly. The sage brings back information from those clear visions. His job then is to figure out how best to share that clarity so that it's understandable. But the sage knows that we're all going through different individual universes of experience, so we each interpret the words we hear through our own lens of perception. In that process, there's a loss of fidelity, a loss of truth. The process of taking the message from direct experience and putting it into words creates a distortion in exactly the same way as Chinese whispers. The pure, true information gets distorted. So the sage realizes that the only way to teach and the only way we can learn deeply is through example of this light. This is where the role of the Overman links with the role of the sage. The work of the sage and the Overman of this generation then becomes to teach and guide through not teaching, but through total embodiment of the teachings, so that its light is undeniably obvious, and so the choice of what direction to aspire to answers itself.